right, guys, here we are for another Zoom review. Today we're going to be talking about the 1982 film The Thing. We have a very special guest today. We have the Scream Queen herself, hundreds of credits to her name. Debbie Rochon, here we are. Say hello, Debbie.
Hello.
Debbie, tell the people where they can find you.
Where they can find me, DebbieRochon.com. Best place, really. Everything's there. The link to everything that I do, that I'm working on, whatever, one place. Make it easy, DebbieRochon.com.
Much appreciated for the public. That does make it very easy. Definitely go there, check out her podcast, Obscurities. Awesome. If go to the YouTube, the video companions to those are amazing. Very well cut.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, please do, people. Please check it out.
Most definitely. So we are here to talk about The Thing, Debbie. This was your suggestion. We're very, very glad you brought a good movie for us to watch. As often, we don't necessarily watch the top tier movies.
You gotta be fucking kidding.
This was a nice treat.
It was, yes, it's a really nice treat. I mean, to go see it again. I mean, when you guys are saying, oh, well, what would you like to review potentially? Of course, I'm going to say first, Taxi Driver. I can't talk enough about it. But then I also said The Thing, and you guys jumped on that. And that is so amazing because there's so many things to say about it at this particular moment in time, as there is always, which we'll talk about that part later, I guess. But yeah, what a joy to just be able to talk about this movie. Is like, it's so good. So much to say about it.
It's a fantastic film. It's hard to believe that it was not received as well when it first came out as it is now, the classic that everyone knows and loves. So like in my non-spoiler, obviously I like this movie. I think this is great. I think that will probably go for everybody here.
Yeah, The Thing is good. And so I was almost like, I haven't seen it in a long time, but I've watched other people's YouTube videos about it enough where I feel like I know it so well. But watching it was still cool to like revisit. Things still jumped out at me, kind of like you're saying. You can always look at things differently or just notice stuff that they didn't focus on previously. So yeah, Thing's still good. What can we say?
Most assuredly.
Yes.
So I think our non-spoiler part here is relatively short. It's good. It holds up. Check it out. Obviously, if you somehow haven't seen it, definitely go watch it. If you have seen it or don't care, we're about to jump into spoilers. You've been warned.
If you need a place to rent content, you better listen. We're Cannibal Video and we eat the competition.
Many spoilers. Everything to spoil it. This is what we're here for.
So let's hear your spoiler-filled thoughts first, Debbie. I'm very curious.
Yeah. Okay, well, are we just going all over the place?
Yeah, we jump around like crazy people.
Okay, so right out of the gate, I just want to say, of the trillions of things I could say about this movie, what I love, like off the top, is literally the beginning, the ending. For me, it's a perfect beginning and a perfect ending.
It definitely starts off strong. Even just that opening title sequence, that thing is amazing. And I've watched people try to recreate that. It's an amazingly almost simple effect, but so strong. Just like the burning of a garbage can, like garbage lining around, the glass nameplate there. It looks so good. It's so iconic.
Yeah, and I don't know what both of you guys think, and even just the whole scene with the dog.
Oh yeah,
that kind of like just that simple pulling your heartstrings. He's not shooting a dog, and so you were all for these guys, so to speak, getting killed, like within a movie, right?
Sure.
And then going right around to the end of the movie. Let's just sit here and wait a while.
Why don't we just wait here for a little while? See what happens.
I mean, these are like perfect beginnings and endings that you so rarely see. Like, it's just genius to immediately get your heartstrings into the movie. Boom, an animal. Boom, you're there. And then in the ending, to leave it ambiguous. And so I don't know. It's immediately getting the audience to use your heart and head in both moments for me.
Yeah, it starts on two guys that seem to have been through some stuff.
My God, what the hell happened here? Come on, Doc.
And then it ends with two other guys that have been through it, and now you've seen where how those first two guys got to that point.
If you're worried about me,
If we've got any surprises for each other, I don't think we're in much shape to do anything about it.
And I love in the intro how he's just shouting in Norwegian. There's no subtitles. No one speaks Norwegian. You're like, what is going on? So, it's so crazy. What's happening, right?
Det har ikke en bekjæring. Det er en slags ting. Det imiterer en bekjæring. Det er ikke mekanikk. Kom deg vekk, idioter!
Yeah, it's great.
I think that's better because if you to have no idea what's going on, especially if you went in 1982, you're seeing this theatrically. You're like, what is why are they doing this? Is that's not a wolf? That's a dog. Why are they shooting this thing? Like it would have set the pace so beautifully. And then like the ending, as you said, I love like it's ambiguous where you can think to yourself here, do I believe that one of them is infected? Like Childs did just kind of leave.
Hey, you guys, come here. Come here.
Like, well, what's the deal with that? I don't know. And then like, I didn't pick up myself. I can't take credit for it, but I remember seeing someone posit the theory that we see him with the Molotov cocktails early on, and potentially that's what he still has, and not, his bottle from the beginning, because everything's exploded. So potentially he couldn't find his actual liquor bottle. So potentially he handed him a bottle of kerosene and he took a drink, and as an alien wouldn't know what that tasted like. And so when he drinks, doesn't react, you see that little smile and you're like,
yes,
oh, okay. And I love that theory. I think that's fantastic.
And there's another theory about the ending, about Childs being the alien as well. Somebody had brought up, and I wish I remember the person's name. I believe it was in a written review. I'm not sure, but they said that everybody's eyes, the humans, had a certain eye light.
What the hell are you looking at me like that for?
And that just in the end, not prior to that, but just in the end, Childs didn't have that eye light that was just ever so slightly put on his pupils.
won't last long though.
By the lighting, the director, the lighting department. Is that the answer? I don't know, but it's interesting, like what you just pointed out. That's an interesting way to look at it.
So just so we'll have an even three, and we're just repeating other people's theories. I've also heard people talk about the like how much breath you can see from Kurt Russell.
Neither will we.
How will we make it?
Maybe we should.
And then how little you can see from the other guy. Maybe his body temperature is different, or he's not a human, or something else like that.
Well, what do we do?
I actually read
it's
something
all
about Kurt Russell's acting, like he wanted his breath to be very visible, so he would take puffs of cigarettes in between cuts so that he could breathe out extra smoke so it would look cold. Because they're not actually filming this in the Antarctic most of the time. They're in a set that is refrigerated, which is still pretty cool. It added to why this movie is one of the most expensive movies of the early 80s. It blows out of the water all the rest of the competition horror-wise in what they had. This had like $15 million when your average horror had like under $1 million. So that's like, it goes to show you why this one stands the test of time so well. Those practical effects look better than things that come out now. It's amazing what they were able to do.
Oh, 1,000%. And also the cool thing about this movie, jumping around again, sorry guys.
Sure, no, don't apologize at all. That's our way.
Is like, they set it where they set it in the middle of basically, nowhere, and ice and snow, and like it's a trillion miles, not literally, to civilization. I mean, that just harkens so strongly to a version of something being set in space, because you have the same situation in space, like an alien or something like that. But here we are on Earth, but it is so remote. It is so far out there. It's kind of like, and it deals with aliens, that it's kind of like a space movie on Earth in a strange way.
Completely agree.
Yeah.
I think they did it in the best way possible because so many movies, the stretch for me anyway is why nobody can reach them, why they can't get to a phone, why can't they break the window, like those type of things that just
Call the
never seem to
cops.
happen.
Yeah.
Exactly. But in this one, it all is completely believable. There is nowhere to go. There's no one to help you. You have no vehicles. You're gonna die just from the elements. It is really, if you're a person that can put yourself in the shoes of a person in a movie, this is a terrifying situation. It's really a no-win. You can see why that Norwegian dude slit his wrist and honestly cut his neck almost completely off, which is very impressive.
Yes. Yes.
He
You
cut his
really,
neck
really.
off. Yeah. No, I think
Was
that
taking no
that
chances.
and it really on like a rewatch, just like devoting my time to to just watching it or whatever, it really taps into that like hopelessness aspect because they make this weird decision to like 10 times or like almost 10 times they just show like an actor's face making like a face and then it just quickly fades to black. It's like quiet, there's no weird music sting, there's no goofy thing. They just let the scene kind of like finally slump over and then cut to the next scene and like that with like all these things keep getting taken away, the power goes out, they like wreck the helicopter, they wreck all these things, it just keeps getting they get more isolated and like more hopeless and more whatever, it just keeps fading away until it's just the two of them and they are exhausted, right? It's great.
Right. And
Those
it's
fade to blacks are great too. In a lesser movie, I would be like, oh, that's kind of hacky. But in this,
Well,
it somehow
yeah.
feels like the highest of art. You're like, yeah, that
Yeah,
is
they
fantastic.
they stand out because you're like, well, not every movie does that. And then
Yeah.
like after a few of them, you're like, oh, this is a thing that they're doing or something. And then you start to feel it, it starts to make you feel some kind of way, right?
Most definitely. I
And-
love.
no, go ahead. Sorry.
My thing was gonna be dumb. I was gonna say I just love some of the character choices. So they're all in these like drab outfits. It makes everything like yes, it's desolate. It's this shitty atmosphere, and their wardrobe matches. There's no like you kind of would expect TK Carter's character because he's kind of the upbeat guy.
Well, that's not long enough for guys to go bunkers.
Bullshit, Bonham. 5 minutes is enough to put a man over down here.
Damn straight.
I mean, look at Palmer. He been the way he is since the first day.
The chef, he's roller skating around, that he might have a bright outfit on, but even he doesn't. Everything is toned down, and it does make everything just that much more like, this is the tone. We're in this desolate wasteland, and even our moods and our outfits match. And I think that works so great. And like little touches like his hat, that like thing where on anybody else you'd be like, that is the nerdiest goofy hat, but something about Kurt Russell wearing it, I'm like, that's cool as shit. And his little glasses, like everything about it, I'm like, that is an action hero.
Jesus, how long you figure this has been in the ice? Well,
Like, hot off a Snake Plissken trail right here, we have another move where I'm like, hey, just such a badass. This guy's awesome.
It's like, and you're so right about pointing that out, just about the clothes, because whether it's his hat or his four-wheel, I might add, roller skates.
Maybe we're at war with Norway.
Like everything else is so toned down and appropriate to the story and what's going on and where they are, that something like that, just roller skates at all, is almost like a big deal.
Yeah.
That's almost, whoa, rollers. Like it just makes tiny things like that pop out. And let's also include, talking about the wardrobe, let's talk about like the set design. How intricate every single set, every drip of ice. I mean, if you just look at the movie and just look at the sets, like, because you've seen the movie so many times, you don't, you know what I mean? You don't even see the movie. But you look at the sets and just the work that was put into these sets. I mean, yeah, they had the money, like you were saying, like they had the money, but
that budget is
still
on screen though.
beautiful.
It's not like it wasn't squandered or wasted. Everything there, you're like, I can see exactly where this money went and why the movie's so good. That set, and the fact that there's just such a large cast.
Happens all the time, man. They're falling out of the skies like flies.
There's all these people, and you don't like dwell on any. There's not really a main character. Like yes, like Kurt Russell is the star, but it's not really about the characters. Like they are just a part of the set piece. Like the alien is the main character here. and that I think is so different. And I think might have been why the movie was received weirdly at first. Like people couldn't appreciate that for what it was, but given people time and to really be like, no, you don't usually get to see the monster like that. That's something that's totally impressive. And for it to look good, a lot of movies can show you a monster, but when you see it, you're like, yeah, maybe I should have kept it to the shadows more. Maybe I didn't need to see it. I said I wanted it, but once I saw it, I regret saying that. But this is something where I'm like, no, you could keep showing it to me and it is as impressive as the next time. Like, and these are things that are hard to copy. They're actual actors' faces, often right in the monster, and it looks good. It looks so creepy.
Well, and the characters are also impressed. There's several scenes of them standing there for a second, like, what am I supposed to do? And then have to be like, no, burn it, do it. And he's like, okay. And
Get your ass over here! Burn it! Damn it, child, torch it!
they have to like, it's like, I don't know what to mess with that. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, and just like the detail, which reflects in everything, the lighting, the cinematography, what we were already talking about, the sets and the costumes and the monster, but even the detail to a very somewhat like simple story. Like, remember when in the dog cage, the one monster goes up into the ceiling. And then the other one they torch. Yeah. Okay, now go forward to the very end of the movie. We see that monster again with the dog head. Yeah. Wasn't forgotten. Like it didn't just like go away and we never thought about it again. It was like it came back. It went somewhere, but it just showed up.
Yeah, there's a setup and a payoff.
All the boards start flying up because it's like underneath, like burrowed in there.
Yeah. So I mean, this is like details and you know, just to tear the movie apart for in a good way, for like the incredible timelessness of it. And it's kind of shocking to me that it wasn't well received when it came out, because it is like timeless in the sense of like in every way you could apply it to any particular era, any like 10-year span, and you can equate it to something. You can equate the blood test. I mean, this is what we're all going through now. You have it. No, you have it. No, you don't.
Yeah.
And like it reminds me.
And then it was AIDS.
Yeah, exactly. And it reminds me in this strange way of like, remember that Twilight Zone episode? The Monsters on Maple Street, I believe it's called.
All right, guys, here we're going to talk about episode 22, season 1 of The Twilight Zone. And this is a classic episode.
Yes.
It's kind of the same thing with paranoia, not trusting each other, that building, and like who has it, so to speak. And just in that one aspect, it's very different otherwise. But it just is so timely to any era, no matter what's going on, like, because we have like all of these things that we have in common, but it doesn't take a lot for us to start getting paranoid and being distrustful of one another as humans. Humans.
Especially in a situation where you're one step away from things just being ripped from you. Like if they lose the power, they lose the heat and they die. It's that simple.
Radio's gone. So are the choppers.
Yeah, we're completely cut off. All we can do now is hold up till spring, wait for the rescue team.
And slowly but surely, windows are breaking. We have to seal parts off. We're getting claustrophobic. And like, you know, yes, outside is not immediate death, but it is like, you know, it is a slow, agonizing death where you realize your mortality is slipping away and there's a monster.
6 hours, it'll be 100 below in here. Well, that's suicide. Not for that thing.
It's got that great combo thing, and I think that's what makes a great horror movie, is when there's more than one angles to be scared of, and this has that. None the least of which, as you mentioned, not trusting the people that are there to help you and not know who's on your side. That's a big one.
Right. It doesn't even matter. Let's not, you know, don't break up. In this case, it's don't break up because I don't trust you. Not because we're better off in a group. It's like, I don't trust what you're going to be or do or become if you're out of my sight. So, it's
Yeah, I think it's a great detail that the guy that he shot, like a cowboy, just real quick.
I guess you do.
When he like rushed him, ended up not being a thing, right? And he was like, and they're kind of like, aren't you kind of a murderer? And he's like, moving on, next test. No, we're not gonna talk about that right now. Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
Same thing with the Norwegian guy.
Yeah.
Our first massacre. I do love the Norwegians die, like the one that dies to the grenade. I think is like almost hilarious because they had to have survived so much. Just think of what happened at their camp. And how does he die? A butterfingers of a grenade. And just
and like digging through the snow frantically, like, where is it? Where is it? I'm dead. Yeah.
Boom. Almost like a comedy in a way, right?
Yeah.
And
it's I think for the audience, because like as you see them, they're trying to kill a dog, and the audience is like, yeah, fuck you, you're dead. Good.
Yeah,
yeah,
you're dead to me. You're dead to me. Yeah.
I love the way the other guy dies too, because the one dude in like the khaki shoots him, but his head doesn't explode. It isn't like a big thing. You just see like a little wisp of like gore pop out of the front, and then he falls over. And that feels so realistic. Like if you saw that, you'd be like, oh God, what happened over there? Is that guy okay? Right? It's so like subtle compared to, and maybe it's an accident, but you see little things now where I'm like, oh, this is such a good choice to do it that way.
I remember for years thinking the issue, because I'm a man who looks for issues, and like when you say rip things apart, that's generally what like we're doing. We watch generally worse movies, and it's fun to poke out different areas. And this being a great movie does not have really a lot of those at all. And one that I thought for years until today, where I Googled and looked up, I was like, the flamethrower seems odd. I'm like, how many flamethrowers would you have?
Mac wants the flamethrower. Mac wants the what? That's what he said. Now move.
Damn it. In an Arctic facility. And then in the 80s, they used flamethrowers to de-ice planes. And I'm like, oh, okay, they would have flamethrowers. Okay.
Nice.
Bravo. I don't know if they would have had 3, but I do like, I'm like, okay, there was actually something to that. So like of my list of like 3 complaints, 1 is now removed forever. And that's something that is, it's fun to do because I like this movie and it's nice to take away an issue. I think like one of the only ones that like standout issues in the movie is when they first happen upon the shed, they're going to test the dude.
Mac, the door's open.
Wilford Brimley's character, and they have to like, the shed door is open, and they're like, oh, the door's open, and then they realize the boards are loose, and he went into that like underground cave thing. And I'm like, why was the door open? Because they mentioned it's bolted from the outside, and like you expect when they look in the underground thing that there's like, oh, he tunneled out and he went this way or something like that. But if that were the case, why would he come back to unlatch the door just to give himself away? And I think there may have been some sort of a cut scene or something there that may have like shed more light on that one. But if that's one of my only complaints, that's such a minor stupid complaint. But that's like my middle name, minor stupid complaint.
Here, let me do it. You're gonna break the needle in my.
No, Doc. He's doing a real fine job.
No, but that, you know what? That's okay, because that's where you actually can find out, was there a cut scene?
I did see there were a couple of cuts, but it did seem like they were mostly just extended things and this and that. There were a couple that we're going to do. The helicopter scene was going to crash and explode instead of doing the grenade death as we saw it there. There's going to be one lone survivor, but there were some problems with the model or something, and a few little this. But I didn't see anything directly tied to that. But also, I don't know if they would have labeled it like, "Hey, jerk, this is that scene with the thing." Like, to let me know.
Yeah. That's right.
Did you catch any errors or things that bugged you in this movie? Either of you?
Go ahead.
Not me. No, I love everything. No, I don't. I don't even care about the things that you care about. I'm usually like, oh, I think they said the door was locked. That's fine. Who cares? It's like whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, again, I don't know many. My only other one is almost directly related to that, is just the aliens building a ship in the basement there, and it appeared that ship was bigger than the hull to get out of that hole, and I was like, well, maybe it can burst through the floor. I don't know.
No, it's gonna become like thermal whatever and just fly directly up and blow all the ice away.
Forget it's going straight up through the thing. It's gonna, the whole place is on fire when it's on its way out. Forget it.
I think I would have removed the ship part, just because in my head I like the idea that thing took over some other alien race and crashed their ship into the planet. Like, it does not have necessarily plans and a mind of its own that does things. It kind of just sponges, takes over things, and then works its way around.
It's also
giving it a sentience.
Yeah,
is a little
It's
bit.
also a like hilariously small ship. It looks goofy.
Well, it's only one guy. And
I know, but it makes me
as they
laugh.
explain it, you only need to have like a molecule to like really get
Yeah.
somebody.
That's right. That's a really good point. You know what I do like about it though, is which goes against what you were hoping for in a sense. I do like the fact that even when the great, wonderful dog actor was like watching and thinking, and the wheels are turning when it's showing the dog actor, who was wonderful.
His name is Jed.
It was a name?
Jed.
Jed was fantastic. And why do I say that? Because it's a thinking thing. It's a thinking thing because it's planning, it's watching, it's observing. It has to observe.
Clark, will you put this mutt with the others where he belongs?
It can replicate all it wants, but it has to observe to learn how to be like something. It's obviously goes without saying it's different being a dog than being a person and being one person to another person. I mean, it's just, there's certain things you can replicate and certain things you can't. Like maybe you could start to break the movie down by saying, well, how does it know all of the personality traits, even though some people were off, and some of those people were off and they weren't even the thing. They were just a little off because maybe they're traumatized, right?
Yes, and that's a situation
Which is
that
awesome.
is warranting
Yeah.
for that. I could see getting a little out of sorts when people are dying. There's heads walking around like spider crabs. I think I might get a little agitated.
That's why I love that the dog guy's not a thing, because he was, I'm like, that of all the people, I'm like, you're obviously something's wrong with you. And then he was not. He was just that. He was just like that. He was
And
just,
as an
I like
audience, you have
dogs.
the most compassion for that character because you're like, oh, he cares
Yeah.
about the dogs. He tried to stop them from killing the thing as it was killing the dogs because he didn't want the dog to get injured. I love that whole bit with the dogs. Like it's like spraying some sort of a mucus or something that I don't know if that's
that seems
digesting the
amazing.
dog or what that's doing, but I was like, oh shit, that's foul.
Yeah.
But all the
No, that
dogs,
was really
like,
good.
yeah, Jed deserves an Oscar, because my instincts now watching a movie, I was like, oh, that's CG. That's like they had to like help the dog's face or help the dog, because like you couldn't get a dog to just walk and then
Not any
stop
dog.
perfectly and then look. And I was like, no. There's obviously they're but obviously they're not, because it's from 1982.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's very impressive. It's haunting, that thing looking out the window. When it keeps cutting to it, I think it's just smartly done where they filmed a lot of dog and found the right stuff. But like it's great, you know, on like a rewatch where I'm like, yes, the dog's lurking around, but I'm like, oh no, this dog's amazing. That was a great part of the movie.
Carpenter praised that dog, saying he did like all his shots in like 4 or 5 takes. Like it was, he was like really
That was
good. It was
awesome.
part
Yeah.
wolf, part husky, so he's extra smart.
Extra smart. And I want to jump back to when you were talking about the guy getting killed when they were in the blood test room. And I just want to like point out yet again, probably super obvious, but again, great choice by writers, Carpenter, because so many movies want, you know, they want to play to, well, he was kind of bad, or he was either really bad, he or she was really bad, or at least kind of bad. So it gives us the ability, you know, or like super like saintly, so it'll pull our heartstrings. But this was just like a random, no, the dude was fine. Okay, like you say, moving on.
And Clark was human, huh? Which makes you a murderer, don't it?
Palmer now.
But it was like a quick decision, a good decision to show you that, you know, McGreedy wasn't like superhuman. He didn't know.
Exactly.
And the guy was gonna rush him. In all
that
honesty,
too,
that's what
like
he should do.
that guy
You don't
thought that
know.
he was saving the day.
Let's do what Max says. I mean, he wasted Norris pretty quick, didn't he?
That's close enough, Clark.
He ain't tying me up.
But he was not quick enough for Kurt Russell, and he ended
Who
up
is, honestly?
with the hat alone. One of my favorite things there was because I didn't notice it until this watch, but because like the one guy starts thinging out and ends up eating the other guy's head with his head. It's like brilliant. But the other dudes are like, come on, what are you doing? Why am I still here? And like
they're tied to the couch.
Yeah, so like in my head, like they get off the couch and then they all fight the thing and then they have to finish the test. But no, they just stay on the couch the whole time. They're screaming the whole time. The flamethrower is going off. They're like right there. They're like, please, come on, what are you doing? For the entire time. He will not let them out until he has tested them, no matter what has happened or no matter what's going on.
That is brilliant, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great.
Well, he's a helicopter pilot, so he probably has nerves of steel. It makes sense that he would still keep to the mission.
Yeah, and they are screaming, and he is not phased. He's just like, nope, problem now, whatever. It's also great how as he's testing people, they just like appear next to Kurt Russell in the shot with like tools and like the flamethrower thing as he's adding to the team, right? Yeah. Like
I think the best jump scare in that movie is the blood test. When he tests the blood and it pops up, I've seen it 1,000 times. It gets me every time because I always forget. I'm like, wait, which test does it?
Because the timing, the timing is so perfect because you don't expect it there. It keeps cutting back and forth. Yeah.
You were the only one that could have got to that blood. We'll do you last.
No, it's a beautiful scene, and like it might be the only jump scare. Oh no, I'm lying. You know what else? The defibrillator scene when it eats his hands. That scene, that's a great one too. But that one is easy to go, okay, it's happening now. Like you remember that one because it's very specific. But the blood test one, the timing always gets me. But that defibrillator scene, that is the first time I saw that, you just shit bricks. You are not expecting a chest to open up like a Venus flytrap ever.
Right. And that is like a moment that is often forgotten. Like even, I mean, if you see the movie like so many times, but if there's been a few years in between, that's one of the ones that you can kind of forget. And then when it happens, you're like, whoa, like that one with that. It's just really, it's like great idea because the alien is like couldn't possibly like that, so of course it's going to expose itself, so to speak. And like
I love the way you phrase that. Like that.
You must not care for this. Yes.
No, he doesn't like it. I don't like that. So yeah.
Because it's not dead. It's it just
here.
Looks like the human is not breathing, but it's fine, and she's shocking it, trying to bring it back to life. Yeah.
Something that gets me every time, and every movie does this, and me and Lee have talked about this and other things. Whenever they do a blood test, like, oh, I need blood, they always cut a part of their body where I'm like, that's a very useful part. Why would you cut your thumb tip and so deeply? You can't like, poke them like, or cut the top of your arm or the back of your leg, like something where it won't be vital to your like maneuvering and doing.
I had so much empathy for the cook because they slice his thumb like completely open, and his face is like, like, what are you doing? That hurts so much. Oh, it's great.
I love that. He might be my favorite character, aside from Kurt Russell, obviously. He's so good. He was on a show called Good Morning Miss Bliss. Where he played like he's a comedian. I think that's how he got this role, because that was a common thing, putting comedians and stuff, hoping they're going to be the next big thing and rise you up later on in life. He did not grow on to be that huge, but he's a funny character who has that same type of character and mannerism throughout the TV show stuff. Charles Hallahan? Who's the guy whose head gets ripped off and he crawls around? I think that's his name.
These things I have to look up. I'm so
the dumpy guy, the guy that I identified with in like the big sweater walking around.
That guy I love. He's in the movie The Pest, this John Leguizamo movie that's like, most people don't know about, but he plays the head of the Scottish mob, and I always think of that whenever I see him in anything.
Listen,
Today's Monday. I want all the money you owe me by Wednesday. I'm going to kill your whole family.
How about Thursday and you just take out a cousin?
He has just the thick Scottish accent, and he's all, I'm a mob boss, but no one takes the Scottish mob seriously. Hilarious. And in this,
That's the whole
opposite
thing.
where he's total serious, and he's, his body gets ripped apart. His prosthetic head might be the best in the movie because it gets like a direct, like, hero shot of it crawling around, but like if you see it like twisting as his body's like getting all screwed up, just beautiful effects.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I mean, really, you could take any particular part of this movie and dissect it, so to speak, and really, like, from such a stellar cast.
Oh yeah.
Like, just there's not a weak link in this cast.
And for such a big cast. The only strange thing is there's no girls in this cast, like in the whole movie.
No, because they're doing Cold Angry Men. they're doing like a small cast set location movie. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
guess.
you know what? I'm thinking that I don't know this because I've not researched this, but I don't know if women were integrated into those kinds of situations in '82, like not cinematically.
Yeah.
But I don't. Maybe they
in
were.
real life. Because
life.
This isn't the military, right? This is like they're a research something or other.
Yeah.
It says outpost or something.
Right.
So yeah, it's not clear to me what that is an outpost for.
We don't actually ever see what their day jobs are, but they're in Antarctica, and I don't know what year that rule went into place, but there's some rule where like no people can be in Antarctica, only research facilities for this and that, and that might have happened in the 90s for all I know. I'm not a historian on Antarctica. But it was always interesting to me. I love some of the technology in the movie though, like speaking of the 80s. So like from our opening bit where we see him playing chess against the chess wizard
master
and him like breaking
He pours
that
a
thing.
drink in there. I mean, like, the first thing, okay, that's okay. I think you've unearthed, sorry to cut you off, but I just
go right ahead.
Maybe my only complaint about this movie, and I idolize this movie, is that would you really pour your scotch in a machine and you're gonna be there for 6, 8, maybe another months, a year, I don't know, and ruin your chest?
It's also a computer. How much do you think
I was gonna say, are you commenting?
Right?
Are you commenting on losing your scotch or losing your chess machine? Because I don't know which one is worse.
Honestly, both though, because they're both something you only
There's
have
a limited supply of
you
both.
brought with you. Oh, but I lied. That's a girl. A girl is the voice of the chess machine.
Your move, king to rook 1. My move, rook to knight 6. Checkmate. Checkmate.
Got it.
So there's a female who immediately gets shut up with a drink. That's kind of rude.
That's it. And called a bitch. Shut up, bitch.
And accused of cheating.
Yes.
He accuses her of cheating.
Yeah. You cheating bitch.
Cheating bitch.
That's right. That's
and
right.
like I think that's a great we have to characterize him instantly, but I don't know if that characterization even fits because he ends up being like not like cool headed, but he ends up being, he says at one point when he's like confiscating weapons, like let's let someone more even tempered handle this, something like that.
You should be somebody a little more even tempered, child.
Because he does have the nerves that you were talking about where he can like
I think when it counts he has the nerves. That was him just being like fuck it, rage quit. And
so maybe it's like he had to rise to the occasion, like this is not a game, this is for real, I have to be that guy. And okay, now it's brilliant again. Good.
I love the computer the scientist guy has. So this is like a token, like, we don't know what computers are. Like it immediately runs a simulation showing like the virus or whatever taking over the cells, and then gives him a sentence conversational breakdown of what will happen.
Percentage of infecting entire human population. Yeah.
And what does it say? Like 1,000 days or something. So like in 3 years or whatever, it would kill the entire world.
It's about 3 years, which is not as urgent, but I guess,
Well, when you put it in terms of like 3 years till like you got to pay off a loan or 3 years till the whole earth dies, it's relative.
Usually movies go with like 4 days or something, but like 3 years still spooky. I get it.
Well, especially because you don't know if somebody is it or not.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
gonna
I
be
mean,
a rough
there's
2
always that,
years,
right?
11 months, and 29 days, most definitely. But, yes.
But no, I love that you point that out because, I'm watching the computer, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God, like what did he put in that came out?
Yes. What do you put in to get
Like,
that
what
out? Exactly.
Well, he
information?
said, Jeeves, let me ask you a question, and it responded. And then
Yeah. But I love that, like in a funny way. But
No,
that is,
yeah.
like, it's not even like against the movie, but it's just now to then.
It's the world though. Even now, people don't seem to understand what computers do and what they're capable of. Like the joke now is enhance, like just turning a 2-pixel picture into I can read his
Hacking,
birthday. Yeah, like
There's a reflection.
people don't know. It's how would you visualize these things? How would you explain on screen how urgent this is quickly and give Wilford Brimley a reason to go fucking ape on this whole facility?
Well, that's fine. Most of you don't know what's going on around here. Hold on, damn well. Sure, some of you.
And he's totally in the right. He should have done all the things he did. I would have liked to know though, because a lot of the things he did also seem to be in service of what the Thing might want too. So I would like to know at what point he was converted, because he destroyed the helicopter, and we also know he took the helicopter pieces to make his ship.
He stole the parts from the helicopter.
Smart SOB, put it together piece by piece.
So was his ultimate goal to take over the Earth, or was it to leave the Earth? We don't really know. And either way, our boys don't want it to happen. But did they work? Who's to say? Maybe they won.
Right. So I'm freaking out a little bit on a theory here.
Let's hear it.
I haven't checked this at all. If it can perfectly replicate you, maybe it's replicating your brain, and it has the memories. So maybe like you could be a thing and not even know. And that explains Wilford Brimley.
Oh, that would be scary. I love Wilford Brimley. I love him saying, "I'm fine. I want to go back."
I don't want to stay out here anymore. I want to come back inside.
I want to go back inside.
And
Yes.
I was like, at that point, I think he's been taken over by the alien, because I think he made the noose when he was
Before.
him, and he's
then,
asking to go
yes.
back, and the noose is still there. So like,
Yes.
something's
And
weird.
that's one of the best shots in all of cinema history, when they go open the little thing, and he's like, "I'm okay. I used to not be okay, but I'm all better now."
I'm all right. I'm much better. And I won't harm anybody. And you gotta let me come back inside.
I just want, and the noose is there, the entire this giant noose in the
No
shot.
one references it.
Yeah, it's and Colonel's just like, "All right, no, I'm closing this. I'm gonna close this right in your face." Like, no, keep talking. It's wonderful.
No, yeah.
Yes.
Yes. And but going back, the ship. Okay, here's the thing. I think theory now, not reality. I think
Bring it on.
if the Thing, the alien, had its druthers, it would go home, like leave the planet. It probably, my opinion only, crashed here. It will do what it must to survive, no matter what that is. It'll replicate a cockroach if it needs to, keep living, right? Any way possible, or get frozen, because that suspends life, as we know it does, as we've learned. And I think that ship was really like, it doesn't necessarily, if it had a choice of the both, it wouldn't necessarily want to replicate and take over the world. It wants to go the hell home.
Yeah,
Just my opinion.
It may think that this whole planet sucks. It's so cold. Everything's horrible here. There's no, there's
frame
no
of
life.
reference.
Yeah, just doesn't know. I don't even know if that's the pilot of the ship, or if that was a thing on the ship, or if that's something that some other species carries with it, like the aliens from Aliens, right? That we don't know, and it's and
was it
it's
a
nice
Yeah.
little thing. Yeah, it could be a biological weapon, basically. Like, we have no idea.
Yeah. Good point. We don't know.
And that's part of
It
the
could
fun. A
be
good
very
movie leaves
fun.
you
Nice,
asking
yeah.
questions that are open-ended and fun, and not like, why the hell would they do that kind of questions. So like, it's such a
Yeah.
treat to watch a good movie. There's one thing that I, now that I think of why would you do that, there's one piece of costuming that I couldn't take my eye off of, and I absolutely hated it because it made me stare for so long. The Doctor has a nose ring.
Oh, come on.
4 stitches, barely grazed you.
Did you notice this nose ring? It's a loop, but it's so tight to the crevice where your nose meets your face that I kept being like, what the fuck is that? What does that shine?
It's on your
and
face.
I'm just looking at it like, what the hell am I looking at? And then this was the first time I had noticed that watch. And it might be because in the past it was a lot of TV watching and VHS watching, and now I'm watching like the highest quality version that is available at the moment, that I'm like, the fuck is that?
As soon as I'm finished, I return it right away.
I don't like it. I'm on record. I don't like his nose ring.
It's funny you say that. I also had not noticed his nose ring until this watch, but I'm okay with it. I think live your best life, man. Do whatever you want with
live
your
your
nose.
best life, and even in 82, it's like
Yeah.
I agree. Like there's so many of these things that you don't really notice until you see the high def, and I'll hearken it back to the first and only time I saw The Shining on a big screen, and I had no idea that it was so funny. And I don't mean like, the any overacting or any of that stuff. I meant the beginning when he went for the job offer and he's speaking to anyway, it's a different movie, so I won't go on about it, but he was trying to get a job from the director of the hotel, and his sidekick basically has no lines, but you don't even understand how much physical comedy there is between those two guys.
I'd like you to meet Jack Torrance. How do you do? Bill, how do you do? Nice to meet you. Pleasure to meet you. Grab a chair, Bill. Join in. Jack is going to take care of the overlook for us this winter.
Until, well, I didn't. Until it was on a huge screen. And I was like, their whole shtick together is hilarious.
I also understand why your people in Denver left it for you to tell me.
And so it kind of goes back to the nose ring, the things that we were meant to see because they were designed for the theater. It's like we don't even, maybe a good, 10% of the movie we don't even see. Maybe now with 4K and beyond. It's
That's the best part about a rewatch. Is those little catches.
No, and like the theater changes your experience a lot for a lot of reasons, not just being bigger and everything. But like a lot of those things, there's an old line people use, like you didn't notice it, but your brain did, right? Like you are subconsciously taking in some of these things. But that's the mark of a movie that's like on like another level where they've bothered to do everything, so you can feel everything, and then you're just left with this impression. Like that pen with the dogs in it, we were talking about the set earlier, is so like the chicken wire. And the weird wood is at weird angles. It's like so realistic, and that one dog keeps trying to like pull like one wire at a time trying to get out and stuff. It's
how do you train a dog to do that?
It's so crazy. Yes, and just something like that.
It seems against your better instincts to be fighting and ripping metal, but that dog is like, I gotta get the fuck out of here, and like, he's doing it.
Yeah, you can like smell that room in your head. You like know what it's like to be in that room in a way that you don't usually.
And just like what you said about that, the chicken wire, the one piece at a time. What does that do? It's again the details that make you believe it, like it's realistic. Things become realistic when the details are right, and it triggers something in the brain, and the brain says yes, like I buy this.
This is real.
So this is what this movie had so much of. Like we have such an outrageous situation, but the details were with it. And, we stick with it right to the end. I did anyway.
And
you guys did.
Maybe it's that I'm not as good a person as these characters are, but they're so altruistic immediately. So like my first thing would be immediately when I saw the power was getting cut off, I'm like, let's see if we could turn the power back on. But their first instinct is, we got to blow this fucking thing up. And I'm like, that seems, all right. Like you're taking all the eggs and bam, the basket's gone. And I thought there's a really hilarious line. I don't know if it's meant for humor or if he was even being facetious when he says it, but Kurt Russell, when they get into the basement, which is like so cool, because I imagine that's how they would do it, where it's just like dug into the snow. Like it doesn't appear like it's a lot of structured building there, but they get down there and he goes, so can you get the generator working again?
Any way we can fix it.
It's gone, MacReady.
I'm like, you've already blown up the facility. What are you powering? What?
Yeah.
And I can take that as because he's a very dry character, so that it may have even been a joke, but I loved it so much, and I don't think I had noticed that line before. I've always been like, I was very quick to blow the building up, but I can understand it, that if you truly know the desperation of the situation and that this is potentially the end of all humanity, and you are scientists, granted he is a helicopter pilot, and
Yeah.
a cook. Honestly, the ones that survive shouldn't be the good people, like like good person thing, because like the cook.
For now, I want my kitchen clean, all right? Germ free.
It's the pilot.
Pretty nasty out, Mac. 35 knots.
Screw it, I'm gonna go up anyway.
And the sheriff guy, is that what he is?
I'd rather not spend the rest of this winter tied to this fucking couch!
What is that?
I don't know
guy?
what his title is.
He's
Head of
kind of dressed like a
security?
cowboy. I don't
Yeah.
know what his thing is.
Yeah.
So like those are your and Childs, who we don't know is still alive at the moment.
It's a crock of shit.
So he didn't really have a choice in his altruism. He's just there. But I think that's also something where it's like, oh, the smart people didn't survive. The Joe Everyman characters are the ones that last to the end. They're the ones that ultimately do the right thing. They know their place and what's to keep humanity going. It's a positive movie. And I get
Right.
new thought of it now. I'm trying to actually think about the movie. Very, very nice.
Yeah, I do. I like when Kurt Russell says, his character says to the other characters when they're, blowing it up, actively blowing the place up at the end, he says,
What can we do? What can we do? Whether we make it or not, we can't let the thing freeze again. Maybe we'll just warm things up a little around here.
we're not going to survive. Let's blow this fucker, or whatever he says.
Yeah.
That's not the line.
And there's
But,
no
like,
back talk. Everyone's just like, you're right.
everybody's like,
Kinda like,
okay.
makes sense.
We're not getting out of here alive. But neither's that thing.
Okay.
And I guess had I
sucks, but-
seen that thing firsthand, I'd probably be like, you're fucking right. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
And they may all have gone up there knowing in the back of their heads that this is a job or like a gig where it's like stuff happens.
It's risky, yeah.
You know, there's a risk and all that. And then they've seen, yeah, like you said, they've seen this now, and they're just like, oh.
And you know what other trope that they really avoided, even if it may have been just casually mentioned in the beginning, and it's not even a bad one because we had it in the movie Alien, and that's another like such an amazing movie that I could just rewatch. I base what is an amazing movie, the rewatchability. You know, can I rewatch this
holds up
20 plus times and still love it? And this is why the thing is so special to me. But they avoided one thing that a lot of other movies use, because it is realistic with the government. It's very realistic, but they didn't even bother with the character that's basically screwing over all the humans because he wants that specimen to sell or give to the government.
The credit.
Didn't
No.
Exactly. Yeah.
They don't kill the black character first. They subvert a lot of the traditional, horror
Yeah.
movie trope crap. In fact,
Yeah, that's
they're
cool.
the last characters. The only thing I don't like is that, like the TK Carter character, who again, my favorite character in the movie.
Yeah.
He kind of
great.
dies unceremoniously.
How's it coming in there? I said, how's it?
Like almost off screen. He's like, what's going on there? And he's dead. And I'm like, come on, man. He
Oh
got
yeah, you don't even see.
got there. Keith David,
Yeah.
my boy, this is like his first, I think, movie that like he's a character. I think he might have done extra work or little things, but this is like his first, I have a role, I'm in this movie, and he's a main fucking character. What a, I'm coming in strong kind of life is that?
Come on, get me out of here! Cut me loose, damn it!
That is awesome. And just I want to mention, because being such a fan of his in general, like from so many movies, but I saw a video of him on YouTube, and somebody asked him about the thing and said, okay, what happened in the end? Who was alive and all this kind of stuff? And he wouldn't answer it. He said that Carpenter did tell him, but he's never going to answer it. But he did say, which was very endearing, regardless of what will really happen, as we know, he said that he would still be up for doing a sequel. and being that same character.
Yeah.
He would still, to this day, be up for that. What does that say to you? He's amazing. He's amazing.
I've seen him in a couple of panels, and he's always fun. The way he responds to questions is great. I would love, so my pitch for The Thing 2 would be Childs was infected. Childs is frozen in the ice, and it's now on some other research things there. This many years later, his body aged because he's still in human form or whatever, to try to explain that part away.
Yeah.
And then it's just him coming to and spreading his shit. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's do it. I am down. At least, if nothing else, I have my money ready. I'm gonna pay this in a second. I love that man. He's amazing. He's amazing.
Oh yeah.
Everybody was amazing in this movie, though. I really feel that. I never just say that, and I'm very sympathetic towards actors, so I'm never harsh on them. But I will say that it was so perfectly cast.
And it
really was
at the exact point where it's like you are perfect at this moment of your life for this role. And that's luck, because you're not time traveling and snatching up from the thing. But like Kurt Russell in this, I'm like, God damn, that guy's so good. And he looks. It's only a year after Escape from New York.
You're gonna have to sleep sometime, McCready.
I'm a real light sleeper, child.
But he looks so different. He's almost like a mountain man model in this.
The blood from one of you things won't obey when it's attacked. It'll try and survive. Crawl away from a hot needle.
He has that weird blue steel look to him. Very classy and just fits. Very nice.
Just he's not like a duplication of the last character that he did with Carpenter.
Yeah.
And just to throw
beard.
in there. Yeah, exactly. And he's all good with it. He just he owns it, whatever he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
But even all the other characters too, even nowadays, if you watch a movie and there is characters of different ages and heights and weights and however you want to describe people, it just, back then, people were people in movies. I'm not saying, gee, they never do that now, but I am saying that they were more believable and realistic casting choices at this particular point for me in cinema.
And it makes sense, especially in a thing where these are top sign. If you only get to send 15 people to Antarctica, they're going to be the best people in their field at those particular things. It's not going to be a 20-year-old vlogger looking person. It's going to be this guy who's had decades of research, and people look to his papers for research, paper study and stuff. That's the people, and these people do look that role. And I agree with you completely.
And you can feel like a little tension here and there between some of them for different, just under the surface, a little tiny bit of how they talk back to each other, or they go, "Hey man, listen, whatever you want me to do." But in a movie today, you can watch like 10 seconds of it, and you can instantly know these are the main characters. Those are just like sub, those characters are not real. Forget about them, right? And and this is the kind of movie where every character is a real character. I think before you said Kurt Russell's like the main character, kind of, and it's true because 2 or 3 times we don't follow him. He's not there.
Yeah.
Someone else is there, and we don't know. Are you a thing now? Are you something else? It's great. Yeah.
You could not have picked the last 4 survivors in the beginning. You wouldn't have been it'll be those ones. You would that
we're not giving them extra time or whatever, right? We spent all that time with Fuchs. We don't even see him die. He dies off camera.
Anybody see Fuchs?
I wonder about that too. If that was something that they did film and it didn't work out, or is that just a fun misdirect? Because maybe he's not dead at that point. Maybe we just think he's dead, but he's dead as we've now finished the movie. But at the moment, that could have been a misdirect, kind of like how they have McGreedy's shredded shirt.
It was stashed in his old oil furnace. Wind must have dislodged it, but I don't think he saw me find it. I made sure I got ahead of him on the tow line on the way back.
Oh, is he a thing? Someone just put that there. It could have been a thing. His glasses did this, whatever.
We don't follow them up to his shack. We have no idea what happened there. We just know that they came back separately.
Anyone messes with me and the whole camp goes.
like both kind of like haggard and like pissed off and
45
weird,
minutes later,
scared.
what the
Yeah.
fuck were they doing for 45 minutes? It wasn't that far. The idea of having a
Exactly.
weird shack up in the air seems like the worst place to put your bed in Antarctica too. I'm like, that would get all the wind resistance. You'd lose your heat so quickly. It'd be very
Yeah.
cold, icy to go down the stairs constantly. Seems like a little bit of thing. I guess he's home in the air because he's a pilot. Reading too much into it.
Wants to be closer to the air. Okay.
It's
Yep.
Why
Okay.
not? But you know what? I love the fact that the movie is good enough that you can read more stuff into it that's
Yeah.
ever there. Like, you know, you can go off in these tangents that were never intended because there's like that much groundwork laid for you by the filmmakers. So, you know, it's great to have a movie that you can even have that kind of fun with.
Most definitely. Like, and this is, it's a great written movie. Like, Bill Lancaster, who didn't do much other things. He did The Thing. He did The Thing video game, and then every Bad News Bears movie up until the Billy Bob Thornton one. Didn't do that one, I believe. But that's his whole writing credits. It's a
What
very
a career.
strange career. It's like, children's baseball movies, and alien movies. Well, one very specific alien movie. It's a very interesting career to be what your thing is. But this is, I guess, it's like Lee says this often: when you reach perfection, well, why do something?
Walk away.
Yeah.
Just walk away, as
Can't
they
stop
say,
that.
right?
And he just was like,
Just
I'm out.
walk. No, just that's it. I'm done. I did it. It's exactly right. Exactly
no.
right. It's people's top 1 to 5 favorite horror / sci-fi movie now. So it's
And no one
all
can argue that. Like, even if it's not in your top 5, you're like, yeah, I can see that one. No one's like, no, lame.
I just cannot believe any of this voodoo bullshit.
practical effects touch the audience because to me it's like there's something, if it's not super obvious, I mean, it touches a part of your brain that just registers as real.
Yeah.
Whereas the CGI, even slick stuff, it doesn't reach into that part of your brain, your emotional brain, where it's clicking as something that's real. Like there's an awareness in the subconscious level of your brain that it's not real. So
How
it
light reacts with things, shadows.
Yeah.
You can generally understand
textures.
something is off. You might not know
Yeah.
why.
So that I feel a little less invested. I want to be invested, but there's a piece of me that's holding back because it's not registering as like the real. So,
there's a barrier to entry there where you're like, I want this to be this. But,
yeah. So
and
no
the thing
problem
nails
with
every part of that exactly. To come full
I
circle.
think we all agree on this. There is no problem with the thing.
Now I'll show you what I already know.
No,
Pretty much agree.
the thing is nearly perfect.
Yeah.
Was there anything else that leapt out at you on this rewatch, Debbie?
Boy, it's just I'm going to be repetitious at this point, just
Yeah.
like how much it's relevant to what's going on today. Last time I watched it, it was relevant to something else that was going on. You can just kind of like layer on different things that are current and relate to it in different ways, and that just makes it timeless. And I just don't get tired of seeing it. Like I just really don't. It's one of those movies that, and I have a few of them where every scene, when I see the scene start, I'm like, oh, I love this scene. Next one, oh, I love this scene. Next one, oh, great, I love that. So I have that reaction has not died down. It's only gotten more passionate, I think, with the years. So it's hard to say that anything new jumped out other than it just reaffirmed my love for the movie and just like just how well it was done. And I think if anything, I saw the art direction perhaps, and I don't know why, but it just jumped out at me this time as just like the beautiful detail, like behind the actors, just looking at everything practical and looking at every single icicle and just like appreciating all of it, knowing it was all real, you know?
Yeah, I think you're
It
right.
was all
Like,
handmade. I mean,
like the characters are enough of like a blank slate, and we don't bother with their day jobs or their other outside stuff, so you can just project onto it like the emotions of the interactions of the people. And like it's just dudes in hallways, dudes in rooms, dudes talking, but they've created it so realistically, like you're saying, where it feels like I'm actually shocked that they didn't just find some facility to film in. But this is these are all sets, right? Is that confirmed? I feel like that's amazing.
Yeah, I think the sets are in British Columbia or something.
Yeah,
along
that's
those
great.
lines.
There's
And then obviously in
there's like
backlots
little,
on
yeah,
in Hollywood.
there's little jars of stuff and weird things on shelves everywhere.
God, what was happening to it?
If it had more time to finish, it would have looked and sounded and acted just like Bennings.
I don't know what you're saying.
Where like it's very it's very lived in and like worn out and good.
Good.
And very good. Very good. Now, there's going to be some of your viewers that are not going to agree with us, but that's okay. But it's okay to be that excited about a movie, and that should not be shameful. Meaning, if something deserves it, give it to it. Don't not give it to it just to be, contrary or whatever. And also, there's enough like hate going on out there about stuff. Sometimes it's just fun to like revel in the glory of something and just be, completely enamored by something. And I'm completely enamored by this movie. So
a cinematic triumph.
There's a reason this is John Carpenter's favorite film. The man's made a lot of bangers, and this is the one that he likes the best.
I'm very proud of the movie. I've always loved it. It's one of my favorite of my own films. And I think it still looks well, and I hope you all enjoy watching it tonight in 70mm.
Is it the one he likes the best?
I at least saw him say it once. He may have changed his mind since then, but he's on record as saying this was his favorite film, and it was that much more crushing when it wasn't received very well.
Yeah. Wow. Fascinating. Yeah. Understand why. Mm-hmm.
I have to talk to you. I'm tired of talking, Fix. I just want to get up to my shack and get drunk.
I think that's pretty much everything there is to say about our thoughts on this fine movie. Debbie, thank you again so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Thanks for letting me gush about the thing, or maybe ooze about the thing. I love
it. Anytime.
Thank you very much.
Tell them where they can find you again in case someone missed it in the beginning.
If you missed it, it's DebbieRochon.com. You can go there and find out all the links to either social media or obscurities or whatever you want. So it's all in one place.
And there will be a link in the description below, so you can just click that.
Awesome. Thank you guys. You guys are so much fun. Appreciate it.
We certainly try.
It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure.
All right, guys, that's everything for this review, and we'll see you next time.
All right, guys, thanks for watching. Let us know in the comments below what you thought about it. Don't die in a fire, and we'll see you next time.
If you want to support the show, head over to CannibalVideo.com, pick up some merch.
And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button.
That's all right.
Yeah, that's something.
Whatever.
Fuck these motherfuckers.
Okay, Blair. Come on, man. You don't want to hurt anybody.
I'll kill you!
Cannibal Video has everything you need. A wide array of VHS and DVDs. We ate the competition, now it's only us. Our expert staff of